They were in the world of the spirits, very far away from the natural world where people lived. And so they expected to see the spirits on the wall. And of course they saw them because they used those flickering lights, which made the cave walls live.
In one's spiritual vision, the rock itself begins to disappear and to melt. Then one sees one animal after the other, stretching back through an infinity of visions, deep, deep into the spirit world. In an altered state of consciousness, he hears the animals and eventually sees the animals, and eventually, in some instances, fixes those animals with paint and scratched lines on the wall of the cave, which is the membrane between him and the spirit world.
Okay, let's go through here.
These shamanic experiences could be considered humanity's first space program, an inner space program, made possible by the very nature of the cave. Klot and Lewis Williams say, in dark and isolated environments, the human brain is denied stimuli from the everyday world. This sensory deprivation frees the mind, leaving it open to other influences.
That's where the echoes come from.
Oh, yeah.
These big spaces up like that, I think.
And they made the
With sensory deprivation, even simple sounds can have a powerful effect on our consciousness.
of the wall.
Or maybe they knew the hollows caught the sound, so they put the paintings there too.
Oh, quite possible. Sure.
Well, I think this is a sort of place that caught the echoes of rituals.
Oh, yeah, sure. I'm sure the sound must have played a big part in the rituals. Okay, let's look.
Most images have been recorded in only one section of the 1.5-mile-long cave. A place with unique acoustic properties.
90% of the animal representations are there. It's the only place in Neo where you have a special acoustics with an echo. It does work. It was just incredible. The acoustics are incredible. So is it a coincidence that the place where they put most animal representations is the only place in a 2 miles in a 1.5 mile long cave where you've got that kind of acoustics? I don't think so.
Skip Atwater is using sound and sensory deprivation to alter Carol's state of consciousness. Inside the Monroe Institute's cave-like isolation chamber, she can see nothing, feel nothing. Her only external stimulus comes from tones in her headphones. And that sound is doing something remarkable. Just as 2 eyes give us binocular vision to calculate depth, our 2 ears allow us to calculate the direction and source of a sound, a capability vital to our ancestors' survival.
Low-frequency sound coming from over here would arrive at this ear first, and then a slightly different out-of-phase signal arrive at this ear. And if we would turn our heads towards the source, this would equalize the phase difference.
When manipulated, this survival mechanism can have another powerful effect. The tones in Carol's ears are slightly out of phase, but they can't be equalized by turning her head. As a result, Carol's brain combines the sounds into a third tone, created from the difference between the original tones. This phenomenon is called binaural beating, and it's modifying Carol's brainwaves. Our state of consciousness is linked to brainwave activity, which can be measured by electroencephalograph or EEG. Carol's EEG shows strong activity below 7 cycles per second, known as theta and delta waves. These frequencies are usually associated with dreams and sleep, but Atwater says Carroll's state is better described as body asleep, mind awake.
All those bright colors tell us we're getting lots of delta brain waves going on as she moves into her out-of-body experience. The states of allowing your mind to travel away from your body, or that has been characterized by some as an out-of-body experience of this consciousness movement, is one that's characterized by this slow wave delta. So using the word sleep isn't really appropriate in this case, because our minds are not asleep. Our minds are open and awake to experience.
Stanley Krippner says ancient stories of flight were not inspired by aliens, but by shamans. Experimenting with sensory deprivation, sound, and sometimes psychedelic plants, they learn to alter their states of consciousness to propel them into otherworldly realms.
Drumming, dancing, dreams, drugs, the 4 Ds of shamanism, as I often say. This produces very vivid mental imagery, visual imagery, but also auditory imagery. This becomes the material for songs, for marvelous paintings, for even architectural structures. And this is something that was the province of the shaman.
David Lewis Williams and Jean Clot have no doubt sound and ritual inspired the artists of Niaux.
It must have been a ritual center of some sort, I think.
The deeper gallery to the gallery.
They found further evidence the artists were in altered states.